guys, I hope you're all staying healthy and doing well. Today we're actually going to talk about my personal experience with shadow people. Now, if you didn't go and watch my shadow people video, go ahead, stop this video right now and just go on over to that one. It'll explain all of the different types and variations of shadow people and exactly what they are. But I'll give you a little brief description of them. They are essentially exactly what they sound like. They are a black shadow in the shape of a human. So there's a lot of controversy on what exactly they are, and there's also controversy on whether they have good or bad motives. Now, if you don't know, real quick, my name's Brittany. I do shoot videos based around the paranormal and mythological creatures. So if that's something that you think might interest you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm currently filming every day for the next 2 weeks, so make sure to click that subscribe. That way you don't miss an update. Now we're gonna jump right in. Now, I have always seen shadow people from as far back as I can remember. I see them out of the corner of my eye. I see them straight on at night. And they're basically just like I said, a shadow. Now, I've also had it where a shadow person has peered around the door frame in my bedroom of the apartment that I currently live in. Now, this one seemed to have a little bit more of elongated fingers. It was only there for a second, and then I never saw it again. In my childhood home, I saw shadows quite frequently. Mostly in my bedroom, I would see a shadow of a man, or I would see a shadow of a child. Now, although I saw them quite frequently, and mostly very late at night, they never did anything to me. I felt a little bit uneasy. Sometimes I would have trouble actually falling asleep because of the way that I felt around them. They would also happen to come basically every night. So I saw them a lot. Now, in my last apartment was when the scariest paranormal experience that I have actually happened. Buddy. Now, it was about 1 a.m. and I was sleeping. I woke up to a painful grip on my ankle, specifically my left ankle. And when I looked down, like towards the end of my bed, there was a shadow figure crouched on the ground with their hand wrapped around my ankle. Absolutely terrified me, and I jumped up and hit the light. So the light was actually right by my bed, so I didn't have to move out of my bed to hit the light. So I jumped up, hit the light switch, and the light turned on. The shadow person disappeared. Now, I was fully awake, and anytime I have told somebody this, they immediately start thinking sleep paralysis. But then when I continue talking about it, they realize that that is not what it could have been, because in sleep paralysis, you cannot move, and I actually immediately jumped up as soon as I saw this being. Now, it's also important to note that my bed was on the floor. I didn't have a bed frame at the time, so it's just my box spring and my mattress. And the shadow person was actually crouched on the floor with its shoulders up above the bed, and its hand I physically saw grabbing my ankle. Now, the shadow person didn't have any discerning features, like facial features. Couldn't tell what clothes they were wearing, nothing. It did not have a hat. So, which is, if you watched my previous video, you'll know what that means. And so after I jumped up, clicked on the light, shadow person disappeared. I actually decided to go into the bathroom. Now, in my apartment, there were 2 bedrooms, and in between them was the bathroom. If you live in a story apartment, so there's no way that someone could have climbed into the window. And my whole reason that I went to the bathroom was, 1, to kind of try to collect myself, 2, to make sure that if there was any living person in my bedroom, they would have to walk out of my bedroom and in front of me, like passing the bathroom, in order to get out the front door. Now, when I got up, my door was like slanted. My door is slanted, so I could see behind it. Like, it was like cracked open. It wasn't fully open, wasn't fully shut. So I could see behind it, and I saw a male figure. Now, this is not the first time that I have seen a being look like an actual person and then disappear. Now, this being looked like a person, looked like a male, very tall, like, seems like in like decent shape, and I never saw his face, but he was standing behind my door. So I literally got the worst feeling I had ever had, and I walked very quickly out of my bedroom and into the bathroom. And I waited there until I was like, okay, well, I need to see if there is anything in my bedroom. Like, I need to know if this was a person or not. So I walked back into my bedroom. I checked my closets. There was no under my bed to check. I checked my, like, behind my door again. Everything was gone. And I sat up until I passed out from exhaustion because I was so tired. Now, the next night, I didn't have the same experience, but I did have another one. I woke up and I was completely awake, and the black of the room turned gray, and it was almost like I was in a trance. So this one's a little bit more like sleep paralysis, but I felt like I was fully awake. I woke up before this started happening, so I don't fully think it was, but it is quite a possibility that it could be. Now, I was sitting in bed, like sitting upright, so I wasn't sleeping anymore. I was physically sitting, and the room went gray, and next to my bed there was something so think of like a baby mobile, but it wasn't a baby mobile. It was just like that same kind of shape. It spun around, it hovered, and I can't fully remember what it looked like anymore, but my arm started reaching towards it. Now I tried to pull my arm back again and again and again, and it would not pull back, and it just kept reaching for this object. Now, right when my hands almost reached that object, I took my other arm and managed to grab my right arm and pull my arm. And as soon as that happened, everything went back to black. And my room was just the regular darkness that it normally was. Now, it's also important to know, at that time, there was no light in my room. I had curtains, so very little moonlight shined in, and I didn't have any TVs on or anything like that. So a couple weeks later, I went and saw a psychic, and she had actually told me that I had 3 negative spirits in my room, or 3 negative entities, and she had cleared them for me, and that awful feeling that I had went away. Now, I never saw 3, I only saw 2, so I don't know, but I am very inclined to believe her. I do trust her telling the truth, and I have went to her multiple times. So, anyways, I have never felt such a dreadful feeling. It was like all of the happiness was taken out of the world and it was replaced by only fear. It was so negative and so dark, and it led me to believe that this being that grabbed my ankle was not good, and it wanted to harm me. And I sometimes wonder, like, what would have happened if I did not wake up? Now, I 100% know that I did not imagine this, and I have never, thankfully, had another experience that was exactly like this one. I have never had another shadow person touch me, and I am so incredibly thankful for that, because they're not known to touch a person. Usually they just watch you. So if you guys have ever had any experiences like that or with a shadow person, I would love to hear them, because I completely believe that they are not just in your imagination, especially with how much I have experienced them and having such a powerful experience with them. Now, what I have just told you is completely the truth, and if you don't believe me and don't believe in those things, that is completely fine. But I can promise you that is my experience, and just try not to automatically jump to conclusions that when people tell you crazy things that you might not fully be able to relate to, that it might be real. And just because you haven't ever experienced something doesn't mean that somebody else hasn't. Now, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And I hope you guys stay happy and healthy, and I will see you next time.